I've almost survived 3 years inside of my Minecraft hardcore world. However, parts of my world still look pretty boring. Which is why I want to transform my world today. And this is the main area I want to focus on right here, right behind my giant farming village. As the rest of this area is starting to look really good, in fact it's pretty much complete. However, this little bit here just doesn't look great in my opinion, which is why I've set up these stone bridges, as I want to create a giant wall here, as well as terraforming alongside the river. And then I'd also love to add some custom trees around here, just to help add more detail to my hardcore world. And we'll be starting right here with a giant wall. But I am going to need to grab some resources to begin with. But luckily, as I have survived almost 3 years, I should have all the materials. So I'll definitely need some andesite, some cobblestone, some stone, probably some stone brick, some tuff, and I'll probably need some white stones like diorite and calcite as well. I'm also going to need a lot of moss, which is lucky that I have a moss farm right here. And it doesn't actually have enough right now, so I will have to activate it for a few minutes. And with all of these materials now collected, this should be pretty much all I need to start building the wall. But the first thing I should do before even building this wall is actually just start tearing down all of this stone, as this was just an outline to mark where I wanted the wall to be. And I don't think it exactly matches up with the wall I have in mind, as I did actually plan the majority of today's build in creative mode first, just so I can get some exact details, and just so I can make it look really nice before adding it into my hardcore world. But with all of that stone now teared down, I think it's time to start building a brand new wall. So it's now time for a time lapse, which feels weird to say, as I haven't properly recorded a video in about 2 weeks. And there we go, there's the wall, and it's honestly one of my favourite builds I've recently designed. I really love all the textures I've added to it, with all the moss, and then the sort of diorite and calcite as it gets closer to the water. I've just realised it's not extending the whole way down into the river yet, but I can always solve that later. And there's also a couple of holes there, which I think need some stairs added to them. And also here I wanted to add some walls and chains, which I can do quickly. And there we go, whilst very subtle, there have been a few more details added onto this wall, such as these walls with chains, as well as a few holes in the wall with these stair blocks. And there is still more I want to add to this wall. I want to add some glow lichen, but that can be done later on. As it's time now to move on to the next part, which one of them is going to be to add loads of grass around this area. As you can see, I've got a couple of grass blocks already, as I want to turn this whole area here into more of a plains biome to flatten it out a bit, just for more builds in the future, as well as that for a way so I can connect my farming village right here up to the giant castle up there, as well as to my industrial district over in that direction. However, there is something I want to do first, which is simply to transform this area here, as to be honest, this is just a really ugly piece of land which was naturally generated almost 3 years ago. It just looked like sort of too round and really hard to detail, especially around the river. So I want to get rid of a lot of this area now. And whilst I do this, don't forget to subscribe. And there we go, that looks so ugly, and that's because I was using like Matica to know exactly what blocks to break, and lots of these will be now replaced with granite, dripstone, rooted dirt, coarse dirt. And then right along the river, I want to add loads of like mud, coarse dirt, and also some leaves. I've now collected myself up a load of the blocks we're going to need, including like the dirt, rooted dirt, dripstone, so I can start adding more detail to the new terrain. There we go, we're now on day 2561, and it still does look a little bit messy, but that's only because what's missing there is mud and muddy mangrove root blocks. And as well as that, I'll need to add loads of different foliage blocks such as grass, ferns, and bushes in, as well as loads of custom trees that I've planned for over there, as well as where I'm standing right now. And just as a reminder, this is what it looked like at the beginning of the video. And here it is now. But taking a look from above, we can still see how much we've got to do, as I want to fill this entire area up with grass blocks, so it is at a similar level to the savanna biome, although I don't really know what I want to do with this area just yet. I know I want to connect it up, and I know roughly what I want to build around here, but I don't exactly know how it's all going to connect up yet, from like this village up to the castle, through to the industrial district. I don't really know how everything's going to connect up yet, but that's something I can worry about in the future. After this, I decided to start gathering all of the decorations that we are going to need. This involved me creating a fern farm, which then led me to my mob farm to get some more bone meal, and then I collected some more flowers, lily pads, sea pickles, and then I repaired all my stuff at my trading hall. And there we go, that's a lot of grass, bushes, wildflowers, and loads of other decorations now gathered up, as well as loads of other materials I'm going to need, including loads of different leaves, coarse dirt, and mud, which we'll need to decorate around the river. And here's the simple fern farm that I built, the tutorial of which will be in the description. Also, I feel like I haven't really shown this area off on video at all. This is below my industrial district, like my trading hall's right up there somewhere. In fact, it's right there. And I've just got loads of different farms under here. I've got some cactus growing from when I needed loads of green dye, with some cactus flowers on, which I could harvest at some point. I've got my villager breeder. I've got a newly added sugarcane farm, which is working fairly well. I've got a bamboo farm in case I ever need a lot of bamboo. I don't know if I will, though. Maybe in the future. Who knows? I've also got my sniffer farm, which we built maybe a year ago or so at this point. Then I've also got a bone meal farm here where I just drop like plants into a chest, and then it puts it into the composter to gather into this chest here. I've also got my moss farm here and leftovers of a beacon from when I was destroying this whole industrial area. And to be honest, I feel like I should probably rework this industrial district area in the future, as I just don't think it looks amazing. I think I could definitely improve the build. Like, I want to get rid of this factory. Also, I've got the plan of building a giant city around here. There's so much more I could do with this area. And I also don't really like this wall anymore. I feel like I could change the shape of it slightly. I think it looks good. I really like the texturing I did on it, but I think it could be changed a bit, like maybe so it's not so flat. But if you have any ideas of that, just let me know in the comments. And in general, I really do like this new wall. I just really like the shape I've done with it and all the texturing on it. And if you can see down below in the river, I've started adding mud blocks. As instead of building the wall all the way down to the bottom of the river, which goes down to like level 40, I think instead it's just best to build up the riverbed. So I want to do it at sort of this level and just have like a muddy riverbed and then merge it into some coarse dirt as it gets closer to the riverbank. Then I guess we can do it all in this area as well. I think honestly that would just look a lot better. And also in the future, I should probably do something with this cave opening. Although I don't really know what I could do. I think it does look really cool, but also, yeah, I don't know what I could do with it unless we build like some sort of hidden base in it or something. I don't know. Once again, if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. But I think now it's time to start adding more detail to the riverbank. And there we go. I think this side of the river now looks really good. One of my favorite details I have added are these sort of patches of like algae floating in the water with the azalea, mangrove and jungle leaves. I think these look really good. I love the firefly bushes as well alongside the river. I think honestly it all looks pretty good. I definitely do want to do more with this riverbed though, because half it's stone of a minute, which doesn't look too good. So I reckon we dig that down a few blocks, then just fill in the rest with mud. I think that'll be better. And then obviously I need to go onto this side of the river here and do sort of the same details I've done there. And obviously I'm still going to continue loads of like grass, bushes, ferns, dandelions up this side of a hill as well. But before we do that, there's another detail I want to add, and it's actually behind this wall here, as I want to start adding a giant grass block platform here, just so there's actually something behind this wall, as right now it just doesn't look very good, does it? Alright, now armed with a full shulker box of grass blocks, which should hopefully be more than enough, it's time to start placing loads of grass blocks in, to start this new terraforming project, in order to connect up to the savanna biome, the meadow biome where my castle is, just so it's all so much easier to access. Here we are now on day 2568, and I've made a bit of a mistake with this grass area, as I originally planned this build out in creative mode in my super flat world, which means it's all plains biome, and I sort of just completely forgot that there'd be a whole bit of river going through the middle. So a lot of it in my actual hardcore world is now river biome, which is slightly annoying. Then again, it doesn't matter too much. It depends really what I add here. If it's just buildings, it shouldn't matter. And worst case, if I do leave it as grass, I could always replace it with moss. But to be honest, having another look at it, it doesn't look too bad. It'd be worse if it was like snowy biome or something like that. Whereas river, it's a bit darker, but honestly, it's not too bad. And don't worry, I am aware of all of these holes in the ground, and that's just because I need to place some frog light in them. So there's some hidden lighting, so no mobs spawn in that grass plains area, as otherwise it will become very deadly. As actually most of my hardcore world is lit up like underground, so anytime I add a new building, I've got to make sure it's lit up, otherwise mobs will start spawning and probably start to destroy my builds, especially if there's creepers involved. But luckily I have loads of frog light to prevent that from happening. With that problem now solved, I should probably solve the next problem by just getting rid of all of this cobblestone, which was actually where I was originally going to build a wall. Then I realised it was quite high up and also so much further back, and it just didn't look as good, so I think the way I've done it now is a lot better. The next project that I want to take on is adding all of this mud to the riverbed. However, it is underwater, which will cause me to drown, and whilst I could make some water breathing potions, I want to do something a little bit different. And it's actually using an item I'm pretty sure I've never made on this world. So I should probably head to my starter base to check all the materials I do have. As I want to create a conduit, as it will allow me to break blocks slightly quicker underwater, allow me to see better, as well as just giving me permanent water breathing. Plus, I don't think I've added one into my hardcore world yet, so it'd be fun to do. Now, do I even have a Heart of the Sea? I do. 4 Nautilus shells. Have I crafted one before? I can't even remember. I don't think I have. Maybe it's in my valuable shulker box? No. Okay, so it doesn't look like I've ever made one. Unless a leather backpack. Maybe it has a oh, it does have a conduit. Oh, there we go. Now, I don't know if I've ever actually made one. I should also probably get some prismarine. I also don't know if I have any prismarine because I don't really build with prismarine that often. That's sort of how, like, not very useful a conduit is. I just have no need to ever use one. I kind of wish I did. Then again, if I do decide to do like an ocean monument project in the future, I'll probably end up using a conduit, but I'm surprised I've never properly built one. And will there be a prismarine over here? No, it doesn't really look like it. Now I'll check my storage room quickly. And if not, we may need to head to an ocean monument to get a load of prismarine. That sort of makes sense though, because I feel like I've not really collected much before. No, it doesn't look like in any of these chests there's prismarine. Oh, there we go. I don't think 20 is going to be enough though, unfortunately. I mean, I have used it before, haven't I? It's on, yeah, it's on the roof of a dirt factory, as well as the trading hall. Well, it looks like we have to head to an ocean monument, and using Zero's map mod, we can tell exactly where loads of ocean monuments are. Sort of. There's 2 there. Oh, there's one sort of just off the coast of that flower forest village. There's also one right by this. There's also one right by this mushroom island, which is probably the best one to go for. So I better start flying. I just really hope there's no elder guardians, actually. Otherwise, I'm going to need milk, because I'll just get mining fatigue otherwise. Alright, here's the ocean monument, which I'm actually pretty sure is the first ocean monument I've visited. Or at least it's the one I visited to get an armor trim, I'm pretty sure, all the way back in 1.20. Okay, so I guess we just start mining prismarine. Is there any... Okay, so we're already at the bottom. You know what, it's probably best if we can somehow find... Yeah, one of these, the leg pillar things. And just dig up through it. That's probably easiest. I always forget how much we need for a conduit, so I'll just grab like a rounder stack. That's probably good. And we've already found the exit, so I might as well just dig out a few of these legs. Where's the next one? Here it is. Swim through, break all of this, and I guess just start digging up. To be fair, we've pretty much collected all of the prismarine already, which was fairly quick. A stack of prismarine bricks. I don't need 3 bits of prismarine. I think a stack should be fine, and that's going to do a lot of damage if that hits with those lasers. So let's quickly fly away, and I don't really know where's best to build it, because I'm probably going to cover this area up. Yeah, let's just build it around here, I guess. So is it just something like this? Go away, you stupid round. I want to see if I can sort of make the max beacon possible, or max conduit rather. Okay, so add conduit there, break it, and it turns into a conduit, right? Well, it's not changed texture, but there's particles going to it, so that's positive. It's such a weird configuration you have to do for a conduit. And I'm sort of just basing this off memory. It's got a really cool sound to it, though. Yeah, something like this looks fairly accurate, I think. Is that right? I mean, we've got conduit power. It sounds really cool and the particles look amazing. So it's probably alright for now. Yeah, that doesn't look right at all, but... Oh well, it works. Actually, we should probably test its radius. Does it work all the way over here? Okay, it looks like it does. Yeah, it jumps back up to 12. Okay, we should be fine. And now, luckily, in my ender chest, I carry an entire shulker box for mud. So I'll just grab loads of it out. And I guess it's time to start placing loads of mud. And there we go, that's a bunch of mud now added in. And honestly, I really like the look of this area now. I think, yeah, it just works so well. Obviously, I will now need to grab some bone meal so we can add some seagrass to it. I've also grabbed some kelp and some sea pickles as well to add extra detail to the bottom of the river. But first of all, I'll start by bone mealing everywhere, just so we get loads of this nice looking seagrass. Just really helps to add more texture. I don't want to add it every single block, but we'll add it in sort of patches, I guess. Coming up here as well. Yeah, that already looks a lot better. And then I can sort of create these small patches of kelp. And we can use our shears as well, because I've got a vanilla tweak resource pack, which shows you at age 25 kelp, so this means it won't grow. And if we shear it, it just helps add even more detail, as it looks sort of like a flowery sort of design. I think it looks quite good. Add another patch here, although, to be honest, it won't grow very high over there, so I guess let's add it around here. Spamming it in a little bit. There we go, and 2 more bits there. And we'll shear that one. And then now we can also just add a few sea pickles, just for slightly darker spots, just so it's more spawn-proofed in case drownts decide to spawn. And yeah, it now looks so much better. Obviously, I do need to come down here and add some more mud along this way to merge with the rest of the riverbank, but I can do that another time. But yeah, that looks so good now. I think the next thing I'll work on is just adding some more grass blocks along here, sort of connecting it up to the savanna biome there. But don't forget, we've got loads more to get done today, as I've got to terraform this riverbank bit here, as well as adding loads of custom trees around this area. But for now, I'm going to take this full shulker box of grass blocks and start terraforming. After placing all the grass blocks in, I decided to light up the underneath, just to prevent any mobs from spawning, as otherwise it'd be incredibly dangerous. Honestly, now that grass looks really good there. We are going to expand it all the way to here, I think, or to sort of where the factories are, so we can connect up, like basically, if we look at the map, we can connect up the whole sort of savanna biome to like the plains and the forest. I think I want to keep this cave bit here because it does look pretty cool, although I don't really know what I could do with it, and it would make sense to cover it actually, but I think I'll leave it for now and just cover the resting grass. But I want to move on to something else for now, because placing grass blocks is getting kind of boring, and it is my most placed block in this world now. So I think the next project I want to work on is to terraform around the river edge on this side of the river. And luckily I should have all of the resources that I'm going to need. And there we go, that's the first part of the riverbed now done. I've added in the mud, muddy mangrove roots, and the patches of algae and some leaves. Then I've also sort of upped the mountain, as you can see, added some coarse dirt, rooted dirt, granite and dripstone, just to sort of merge more into the texture of dirt. I think that looks really good. I will need to come back under the river at some point and re-terraform it with mud, sort of similar to this side, but that can be done fairly easily. And next I do want to just go around adding in like the sugarcane, the peonies and different flowers and things like that. And there we go, and honestly I think that's a big improvement. I really just love the details along the river, which I've done pretty much throughout my world, although I can't really see it very well from here. Fly over here, you will be able to see that all of the edges of a river have been decorated with pretty much the same thing. It's sort of just a style I have in my world, and honestly I think it looks really good. Obviously eventually as well we'll need to continue it all the way around this mountain as well. But now it's time to take a break from building, as I want to start collecting all of the resources I'm going to need to build up a bunch of custom trees. And just taking a look at the Matica mod, I'm going to need over 10 stacks of spruce leaves. I'm now on day 2579, and I've managed to gather up all of the leaves other than the spruce leaves that I'm going to need. And I actually didn't check in my leaf shulker box. Did I have spruce leaves already? Oh, it's in this one. Any spruce? Okay, I've literally got about a stack and a half, so I'm going to need to head to the tiger biome to gather a bunch of spruce leaves. Luckily, I've got all of the others because I really can't be bothered to mine any azalea leaves or cherry leaves or anything like that. And there we go, that's the 10 stacks and 27 spruce leaves that we needed. And for these custom trees, another thing I will need is loads of spruce fences, as well as loads of other fences to be fair. So it's probably worth cutting down a couple of big spruce trees now. Although I've already got quite a few spruce logs on me, so after this tree it should probably be enough. And I'm now pretty certain all 6 of these shulker boxes should be all of the resources that we are going to need to finish off this project. And yeah, there's a lot. That's all trees, as is a lot of that box. Obviously I've got some other decorations which actually we could probably just quickly add to the wall now. And there we go, just some very subtle details. I've sort of added some like gears or cogs onto it, some little crates in the water, and then sort of a similar thing here, but I think it helps to add even more detail to the wall. But first, I think I want to start building up a bunch of spruce trees, which will be going on top of a mountain right there. And there we go, in the middle of a thunderstorm, all of these spruce trees have now been added in, and I honestly think these look really good at the side of a mountain. I think over time I will want to add in more going around as well. I should probably also spawn proof it, as there are a lot of hostile mobs spawning. But yeah, I think that looks really nice. And obviously there's going to be a load more trees added on later on as well. But first I must sleep to wake up on day 2582. I then decided it was worth building up a brand new stone pillar, as I just really like these added details in my world. And then I spent over 4 shulker boxes full of grass blocks in order to do loads more terraforming. And now on day 2590, this is what the area looks like, and honestly it looks so good. I can't wait to start properly building on this area. Now that I can actually start expanding out my like farming village more, we can go all the way around here. Still not 100% sure what to do with this little cave area here, but if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. And I also think I'll continue this course dirt around the industrial district out into this general area, as I want to create like a giant city here eventually. And then I also want to get rid of these big hills and continue this terraforming, but that can all be done in the future, as honestly I've kind of forgotten how much more work I've got to do around this area first, as there's a load of custom trees I have to build in. However, first I do want to go underneath this terraforming and light it all up, as I already know there will be a lot of hostile mobs spawning, which is not a good thing. So let's just get the bow out and just take a look. And you know what, I'm going to use a mini HUD mod so we can toggle the light levels on, so we know exactly where to light up. And it's crazy how this is just part of a natural terrain in my hardcore world, and now look how high up I've made it. So these are like naturally generated trees, and there's a creeper right there. Luckily we can one-shot that with my bow. And I'll just place some torches in. I've also got some more froglight and moss we can add onto the top of it later on. And there we go, that should be the entire underneath of this area now lit up properly, which is good. And I'm going to kill this enderman as well, because otherwise it will just cause lag eventually with just hostile mobs roaming around everywhere. Plus they'll never despawn if they're holding a grass block, so I might as well just get rid of it. And now there's a lot of lighting up to do on the surface. But luckily all I need to do is grab out a frog light and a moss carpet, and it actually covers such a large area, which is really nice. And there we go, that's an entire stack of frog light now used, but it means that pretty much this whole area is now spawn proofed, other than the savanna biome. As you can tell, a lot of hostile mobs are spawning around here, which isn't great, but honestly that can be a future Harry problem, as I sleep most nights anyway, just like what I can do right now. Anyway, let's get back to the actual project of today's video by transforming the rest of this area. And I think now I want to continue by adding some more custom trees around this area here. And there we go, there's the next few custom trees now added in. I've also gone around and just added even more decorations in. I've got these patches of dandelions everywhere, also started adding in patches of bushes, and then maybe harder to notice, but I've also done the same with ferns over there. I think honestly it all looks really nice now. Anyway, it's time to continue building some more custom trees. Here we are, I'm now on day 2599, and we're pretty much done with this project now. All I want to do is actually add some little rocks up there and a few more custom trees around here. But honestly, I just love how this whole area is now turned out, especially just all of this grass I've managed to place in. It's going to make building around this savanna area so much nicer. I've now grabbed up a bunch of stone materials, as it's time to build some of the final decorations around this area. There we go, just some very simple decorations with these little rocks, but honestly I think they work really well. I also just love the other decorations around this area, like the sweet berry bushes, all of the different patches of flowers. And I've made it so as the mountain goes up, we have cornflowers. Instead of the dandelions I use elsewhere in my world. And I've also done a few patches of bushes and ferns, as well as some little patches of moss around this area. And now there is only one thing left to do, and it's to build some more custom trees on this bit of land right here. And for the final trees around this area, I decided to go with a mix of azalea with some flowering azalea leaves, as well as some cherry trees, as bees can actually pollinate on both cherry leaves and flowering azalea leaves. And there we go, with all of these trees now built up, we can go to sleep and wake up on day 2600. And now I can officially say I've transformed my hardcore world, as honestly, it just looks amazing now. This whole area just looks so good. Can't wait to start building over there. I think I want to add loads of custom trees around here in the future. I've got so many plans. So if that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe. There's also a drowned with a trident right here. Will I get a trident? Let's see if we're lucky. Oh my, we actually did get a trident. That's actually very lucky. Impaling 3 as well. Wow, that's actually really lucky. Although, I don't really know what to do with a trident. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see me do next in this world. And also, stay tuned, as on Monday, I have a whole world tour of this world planned for the 3-year anniversary of my hardcore world. So if that sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe so you can watch that video as soon as it releases.